So this 2001 Ford Mustang GT is a 2001. Now 99 to early 2001, there was different options, and then moving over to what this car would have been considered a late 01, kind of that mid-tier year where they upgraded certain features on this vehicle. It does have the original side scoop, just not on it, but they relocated like the traction control button, the fog light button, and I believe the rear defroster used to be here, and then they put it in the middle, kind of just to switch things up a little bit. So this was a premium GT when I first bought it. Obviously, when I bought it, I was not the first owner. It had gone quite through some people before I got a hold of it. But this car itself, went ahead and Googled the average probably estimate for this vehicle in 2001 or 2002 when it was sold off the lot was around $28,000 for the fog lights, the hood scoop, probably premium wheels, but also it had the, you know, traction control button, it had the fog light button as well, and it had the leather seats front and rear, and just various things that made it a premium GT. And fast forward from what Google told me, it's probably just a rough estimate as well. This car in 2024, if Ford was to have released a new Edge now, would be right around $49,000 to $50,000. So that's basically probably what you're paying for the newer Mustangs, the S650s. I haven't shopped around to see what the pricing is for those, but that would just be my guess. Base model is probably a little cheaper. That I don't know. So let's go ahead and just get into this video and why I'm talking about this. And I've talked about this issue before. Other YouTubers have as well. So over this past couple days, this past weekend, I personally have gone through and have ordered various factory or stock parts that are made from like American Muscle or late model restoration places like those vendors carry for Ford, all the way from the weather stripping to just getting the door panels, the dash. If you've been following this build along, you'll know that I had the whole dash redone since the heater core had to be swapped out. Went ahead and swapped the dash, everything from the radio trim bezel to the shift ring bezel, everything that you could think of, the mirrors that you flip down, or the sun visors. I just wanted everything to be redone. And then coming in over the weekend, I went ahead and replaced the factory door speakers and the rear speakers, which isn't, I would say it's not difficult whatsoever. It's honestly easy because that's what I'm about to get into. So I didn't replace the tweeters or anything. There are tweeters in the rears, and then you have the tweeters up here. This car has the Mach 460, and some cars from the Mustangs had the Mach 1000, which was a sub, and I think 4 amps, I believe. It's been a long time since I've actually seen one, so I could be wrong about that. Anyways, as easy as it is to take this car apart, that leads me to what this video is basically the truth about this car. Like, I went to the junkyard today because I redid the trunk, and it's got the liner panel on the right side, the left side, and then you have the trunk trim panel, then a plastic piece, and then the carpet, but the battery is in the rear of the trunk now since the car is a Coyote swap. So it makes it a little more difficult to put stuff in and out of there. So I went ahead and replaced the left side and then the whole back side. I went ahead and ordered off eBay the trim piece, and then off Blue Auto, Blue Oval, Blue Auto, whatever it is, where I have gotten various parts. It's probably honestly another part from that Cobra that's just going to live on, that's been parted out and been added to be the addition to this car. So it is so easy to break the clips because everything is just held in by clips. This car is plastic, just the interior. And before anybody complains in the comments or something, I understand that. It's a cheap car. It was the dark ages of Ford. It's a Mustang. The Mustang itself would probably not be as popular as it is if it wasn't such a hobby car. And what I mean by that, this car lives on as a hobby through and through of like stories of like, you know, grandparents to their kids when they bought the 60s Mustangs and the 70s, the Fox bodies, to the SN95, which would be 94 to 04, or if you want to say when it hit 99, the new Edge. You know, people that bought the Terminator, or like how like when I grew up, you know, I saw the Cobra 2000R, which was a badass car, and then you had the 05 to 10, which was just like the retro look, and then you still carried over the retro look a little bit. It was basically the same body, just different panels for 11 to 14, which had the Coyote, introduced that 5.0 back into this car, and then the S550 to where we are now to the S650. So the car is, in my opinion, definitely held on by a hobby, and that's its legacy, versus if this was just like a regular enthusiast car, I don't think it would sell as much. So, but I get back in the day, Ford had that dark ages of stuff like this. The window switches, the door switches are the same found in the Ford Taurus of this generation or this year, the Ford Explorer, Expedition, the F-150. It's a parts bin car, but it's just really, what annoys me is like going through to do the speakers. I also had the door panels. The door panels are from that Cobra, so I went ahead and put these on as well because they're a lot nicer looking. And let's be honest, whoever takes care of a Cobra, it's going to be a lot, or whoever owns a Cobra is going to take care of it probably a lot better than just a regular GT or V6. I just got these, and these are held in by a plastic clip here and here. This bottom clip broke off, and it was barely, like, not even trying to like be rough with it or anything, it just happened to break off. That being the luck of the car, the luck of the draw, the passenger side as well. So what we have here, this piece broke off. So luckily, there's a store on eBay that sells these brand new. There's actually a lot of people that sell these brand new, various parts, 40 bucks, ordered it, shipped, should be here in a couple days. But it's just the annoyance of, I had already spent the money to get some nice ones, because these were in really actually good condition. But it's just the cheap plastic that Ford did for these generations. And I removed the weather stripping, as you can see. Damn, someone's really flying. Yeah, 288's right there. If you're not familiar with Virginia, it's just a highway, like 95 or something. So this is the OPR one, and I stopped halfway through because it's getting dark. So I'm just gonna finish it tomorrow, but still, this is like the premium, like weather gasket or roof rail gasket versus the one down there. And there's a big difference in them. It's just, that was the cheaper one. These were over 200 bucks for both sides, and they still kind of feel like shit. So I get it, you have to work it in the channel and all that good stuff. It takes a little bit of time, but it's just the annoyance and the hard truth overall with these cars. I haven't owned a S197 or a S550. My mother had a S197 when I was in my teenage years, probably a little earlier than that. Right when the 05 came out, the retro look, my mom went and bought one of those. Those just seemed pretty well, pretty well put together. But as you got older, you kind of was able to tell that that still wasn't the best. You know, I don't think Ford really took off with the interiors, honestly, till the S550, and I guess the S650 as well. Just newer technology and stuff. You sit in an 11 to 14, and then you get into an S550. It's basically like a spaceship. But it's just the various things with this car. I get it. It's easy to be able to take things apart super quickly. The convenience is actually really nice. You don't have to like do all this stuff and then makes it super hard, you know, whatever. Putting stuff back together is pretty easy as well, but you have to be careful when you're taking it out and then putting it back in, because it's just the cheap plastics. Like it's, doors are barely held on with clips and just little metal brackets or whatever. I just find that kind of shitty and aggravating. But if these cars are all like, you know, put together, which is what I'm trying to do, finish up basically, you know, I guess I gotta have to wait for the new door panels. I had ordered, waiting, they should be here in a couple days actually, from American Muscle. I ordered new window regulators, so that way I can have the window regulators redone. We're just gonna keep the same glass, and then hopefully with putting the new window regulator and motors on both sides, the windows be realigned, and that way they fit up into these when the weather stripping is correctly done, when I get that done. That way there's no leaks or anything, so the car will be like back to its pristine kind of thing with that. It's got the new speakers, which is nice. I have a new radio for it. I'm going to put a backup camera in it as well. I just kind of update some things here. I have the new pedals for it. I got to take those off. Those are just trash. So we're going to put the Bullet Mach 1 premium pedals that came with this, or came with those variations, on. Replace those. We're going to take the Celine side scoops off. Still waiting on the K-member from Maximum Motorsports and the front control arms. I did receive the bushing kit for the steering rack that you have to use through their K-member. It's just apparently what you have to do. And then I also received the coilover kit and the springs for the spring rate for the front of this car. So we're still going to use the Conies, and we're going to still keep the Viking rear double adjustable coilover shocks or struts or whatever. Yeah, shocks in the rear. So those aren't bad. There's no way that those are bad. They don't have that many miles on it for it to be, you know, need for the Conies in the front and then the Vikings in the rear to be replaced. But all suspension wise, this thing has been upgraded every best that I could afford for it to be. Even going into as much detail to replace everything on this car, from the window regulators to the trunk interior, getting the tent fixed on this car. That way, just I'm being very, very tedious with this car. That's why everything is just kind of taking so long. That's why I stopped looking for S550 at this point right now. I just wanted to focus on this car. We're going to do retrofitted headlights, and I'm going to do the carbon fiber spoiler as well for the Terminator. So we're just going to take this Terminator spoiler off and put the carbon fiber one on to kind of just match that flow with the mirrors. Once the side skips are on, it has those carbon fiber inserts. It's just going to kind of align itself very perfectly, in my opinion. But I haven't ordered anything like that yet. That's probably just going to be a fall or winter project, because it takes, the lead times on those are a couple months. I called, I think it's like Sigma Designs or whatever, and they sell the carbon fiber Terminator spoiler for this car, and they said I probably wouldn't, if I had ordered it that day that I called, I wouldn't see it till maybe October, November. It's just maybe the materials, or yeah, the materials, or I don't know. So it's not like a headache or like a big disappointment. It's just one of those things that I want for the car, and I eventually will get. I know retrofitted headlights can take a little bit of time, as the 4Runner did. So those will be something that I order before the spoiler. The spoiler can wait. I can order that anytime, and it just randomly shows up, and I'm like, there we go. So we just have a few things left to take care of the car, basically. Also, to put these Cobra side skirts on, the inner fender liners, the OE ones. See, like, I've just even gone to the point to where I've bought everything used, or at least new in some fashion, that I want the car to be like OE as possible, and it's like the best ride it can be. The car's not gonna be perfect, but I'm trying to just, it's like almost restoring this car. I'll put it that way. It's the easiest way to say it, but just with Terminator parts. The car will be painted, which will be great. I think that will be just be done by the time the 4Runner is as well. So I will probably get this painted before the 4Runner. That way I can just drive it, and then this can be driven still in the winter, fall time, depending on when I drop the 4Runner off, to just get repainted, just to clear up some of the faded paint on a 02 3rd Gen 4Runner. And that's the kind of the last thing I will leave about this video. This video is kind of long, so if you've made it this far, I appreciate it. The stock that I've put so much into this car to make it back to where it has come a long way, and I can definitely appreciate the time and effort scouring parts, looking all over the internet. You know, the people that have helped me along the way with this by installing parts, you know, me paying for it, whatever, and then as myself being able to do certain things when I have the time, or the tools that I have available. That way I can just get stuff done. So definitely appreciate that, and just appreciate the money and time spent on this. It's definitely made me happy, kind of fall in love with the car again. But when you look at the 4Runner, I've done the same thing, and I really love that thing as well. I love it more in some ways, and then I love this thing more in some ways. I took this thing out to a car meet this morning, just a little get together for the 804 area, and it definitely made me appreciate this thing, especially because it has AC as well. It's a fun little car. It's just old, plastic rattles and all that good stuff, but when you drive the 4Runner, it's a year older than this vehicle, and same kind of plastics, but the plastics in the Toyota 4Runner are just a lot better. Nothing creaks or rattles or whatsoever. It's basically like a 9 out of 10 for that. You don't really hear anything. You just hear the tires, really. You might hear something here and there when you go over like a really bad road or something, but overall I haven't replaced anything interior wise, factory wise in the 4Runner. And it is a Toyota versus a Ford, so it's a, you know, an SUV versus a car. It's a different platform, so there's different things you could argue about that, but overall, just for the age and time being, those vehicles were made a lot better to withstand and hold versus this. And I would say there's as many Toyota 4Runners at that point sold and on the road as there are these New Edge Mustangs. And you just see a lot of these cars, you know, ragged to shit and beat up if it's a V6 or a GT. You do see some clean ones here and there, Mach 1s, some GTs, definitely Terminators, or the 99 to 01 Cobras. So yeah, I guess it's like a dying breed for these cars. So that's just my this just is the hard truth about this. This is all this video is. It's just explaining the hard truth of owning a New Edge or a 94 to 04 SM95 era generation Mustang. It sucks sometimes, but it is what it is. Overall, it's a good looking car when it's, you know, going smoothly. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I appreciate you stopping by for this little hard truth of a rant, where we're at with the car itself. If it does go to Mustang Week, it will go for a couple days, as is. Wherever I finish or have this car finished at to that point, it will be taken down there for those couple days. Maybe put in the car show or whatever, or taken out a little bit on some of the streets and stuff. And nothing too crazy, but drive around, see some other Mustangs for people to look at with this, and yeah, take back home and plan for the plan for this thing to be finished. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. And everyone asked me what wheels these are. They are Cosmos Racing. They're easy to find on their website. Have a good one.